Hey everybody, hola, welcome. In spite of what people might be saying, I believe 4A, B, and C curl types are easy to take care of. To society, our hair might be wild, untamed, difficult, unruly, tangled, jumbled, knotted, attention-taking, a distraction. But in reality, our hair is not that way. Our hair is beautiful, striking, provocative, different, and it's genuine. Our hair is hidden, changed, altered, and in many ways rejected. Although our hair is talked about negatively in society, our hair might be the most mysterious. I hope more people accept their hair and do not change their hair to society's standards. At the end of this video, I hope to show you what my hair looks like after I detangle, wash, and detangle my hair again. I believe the art form of hair has united our community and brought us closer as a people. Although we have lost a lot of our identity and our heritage as African Americans through the transatlantic slave trade, I believe we are growing closer through the use of hairstyling and the use of social media. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about hair. Hey everybody, today's video is about everything I avoid. I avoid quite a lot because I wrote a list and I'm amazed. But we're going to start with number one, and number one is the brush. I avoid the brush to the T because every time a person wants to brush my hair, I just go like, and I avoid it. Like my sister or my mom, they might suggest a brush and I avoid it at all costs. Another item that I avoid are the fine tooth combs. I avoid those at all costs. Now, you might say you have to use a fine tooth comb occasionally and to part your hair. And I actually don't part my hair with a fine tooth comb or even the pointy end of a fine tooth comb. Kind of just wing it and I use my fingers. You might not want to do that, but if you want to use the pointy end of a fine tooth comb, I understand. But that goes into number three. I avoid parting my hair. Now, if you like braids, you're going to have to part your hair quite a bit. Or you can just do loose, rough sections and you can part your hair that way. But I avoid parting my hair. And if I part my hair, I have to have my hair fully detangled. And that takes quite a bit of time. I do fully detangle my hair every couple weeks. And sometimes weekly. But I can't do it twice a week. So I might almost fully detangle it twice a week. And then fully detangle it every week. Number four, I avoid conditioners. I avoid conditioners in the shower. I avoid leave-in conditioners. I just avoid all sorts of man-made mixtures as much as possible. Now the only thing that I can't avoid is the shampoo because I have to cleanse my hair and scalp as much as possible. So I don't avoid shampoo. But when it comes to my hair getting conditioned, moisturized, and so on, I use the most basic items I can. I use simply oil, butters, such as shea butter. And I have used other butters in the past, but right now I'm just using shea butter. I use essential oils and I use water, filtered water. Occasionally I do use a conditioner or a leave-in conditioner, but it's only on special occasions when my hair needs added moisture or strength. Occasionally, I do use deep conditioners too. So when it comes to the concoctions that come in a bottle that say, oh, this will be a great product for fixing flyaways or fixing split ends, I avoid those at all costs because I don't want all those mixtures in my hair. Man-made mixtures I avoid, and I just keep it simple. I try to keep it simple for myself. I learned that the hard way, and I was like, man, why is my hair breaking so much and why is it so dry? But now I realize I have to keep it simple. So I just use oils, butters, water, and essential oil basically on my hair. Okay, another thing that I avoid would be braiding my hair in cornrows. And you might be thinking cornrows are a great protective style and it's a great way to keep your hair from being touched. It might be if you have a loose wavy curl, but my curls are so kinky and so tight and so small that I can't go there. If I were to try a cornrow, I would just lose all my hair trying to part it and trying to section it and trying to braid it, because it will just continually break. The whole time I'm braiding it, I'll be pulling it, tugging it, and getting it into little sections, and then pulling the little sections into each little section of the braid. It would be ridiculous. Have you noticed that when you get a tight braid or a cornrow, that soon later, maybe a couple days later, you have a lot of little hairs that are loose from the braid? Well, I believe this is evidence that we have a high rate of breakage when we have tight braids. So I avoid cornrows, I avoid the fine tooth combs, I avoid the brushes, I avoid the man-made mixtures, I avoid as much as possible. And the next item that I avoid would be, I avoid touching my hair too much. Okay, when I braid my hair, I try and touch it as little as possible. So I use big braids, large sections, and I part my hair with my finger. So I use finger detangling, low manipulation, so that I don't have to be rough with my hair and break it the whole time, because I learned that the hard way too. I learned that the real hard way, where I used a wide tooth comb thinking that was going to detangle my hair. I could comb it like everybody else seems to do, and I could just get through the hair from the ends, starting at the bottom and all the way to the top. But then I realized I have to finger detangle first, and then I can use my comb. Okay, so I avoid manipulation. Too much manipulation just tears my hair to shreds. So actually this last 3 days, today is Wednesday, so the last 4 days I left my hair in a bun and I just took it down and it felt good. I was like, wow, my hair, I finally get to leave it alone and do what I want. So it was very nice to do that. My goodness, this is not a good thing. I lost a lot of hair. I did the bun thing 2 to 3 times this past year, but the 3rd time, this last time, I lost a lot of hair, had a lot of shedding, and a lot of tangling. I usually keep it styled in a braid, or I usually keep it in a ponytail, and I have to finger detangle it, I have to style it, I have to prep it, I have to comb it, I have to do something to it. But last 4 days I did nothing, so it was wonderful. Okay, the next item that I avoid with a passion would be scrunchies with metal attachments. So avoid scrunchies with metal pieces, avoid the tight, hard scrunchies, and avoid twisting the scrunchie off your hair. If you take it off, take it off slowly and gently, and don't twirl the scrunchie as you take it off. So that takes us to the next item. I would say no box braids and no tight micros. When you get your hair braided in a box braid, what do? Okay, everyone can picture it right now, I'm sure. They wrap your hair with synthetic fake hair, and they start at your roots, and they tug a little bit to make it firm, and then they wrap, and then they braid it. Okay, I would say avoid that at all costs, because if you're going to get your hair braided with synthetic hair, unless, now there might be some methods where they use a crochet needle or of some kind, where they slip your hair into another braid, but even that I would avoid, because synthetic hair has chemicals, and those chemicals will affect your scalp and your hair, and you don't want that to happen. The chemicals within the synthetic hair are not structured and known as like an ingredients list, so we don't know all the ingredients in the synthetic hair, so just avoid it as much as possible. The next item, I avoid the flat iron and I avoid the blow dryer. Okay, you might have heard me say blow dry your hair to keep it in a loose texture, curl pattern, and that's fine if you're using cool and medium heat and you're only blow drying your hair for a few seconds to a minute. But if you're blow drying your hair and you're getting it sleek and smooth and all that stuff and getting it really straight, you're gonna have problems in the long run, because the comb attachment is going to be tugging at your hair, and that's breaking rule like number 2 or number 1, where you don't use a fine tooth comb or even a medium tooth comb. I use a wide tooth comb, and I only use it after I've finger detangled thoroughly. I don't use a blow dryer very often, and if I do use a blow dryer, please watch my blow drying video, because you're gonna see that you have to use your fingers, and you have to use the hold out method or the loose stretch method. At least that's what I'm calling it, because I don't know what else to call it. And then you're using the cool and warm setting, and you're using it from your roots to your ends, with the shaft and not against the shaft. So there's details in it. It's a little bit tricky. And then I had to learn these things by trial and error. So I just kind of winged it, and then I figured it out. I can't use the comb attachment because it's not wide tooth comb. Okay. Now that would be a nice thing to make, a wide tooth comb attachment. But even then, you don't want to use that, because you're going to be putting heat too close to your hair. So it comes with discretion. Don't use the flat iron. Of course, people want that flat, silky, smooth hair. They want that nice experience where they can go like shh with their fingers through their hair, and they can whip it in the air and have it in the breeze and not worry about tangles. But I would say avoid the flat iron at all costs, because you don't want to have that. You don't want to have breakage. You don't want to have heat damage. You don't want to have fried hair. I would say use a flat iron once a year, maybe, if you have to, but avoid it the rest of the year. And the next topic, avoid all products that cause sensitivities or allergies. If you feel any sort of itchiness immediately when you have a clean scalp and you feel a little irritated, even a little bit, don't use that item, because if you're irritated, that might cause some sort of hair loss or something to that effect. Even soreness. If you have a bruise-like feeling from a product, that could mean you have sensitivities to that product. You want to avoid those sort of things because you don't want to have alopecia, and you don't want to have rashes, you don't want to have infections. The list goes on. Okay, so you don't want to have any problems with your scalp and with your hair, so just avoid anything that causes sensitivities. And of course, if you have an allergy to an item, you know you're gonna break out in a rash somehow because you had it. Maybe it was the olive, or maybe it was coconuts, and you noticed something happened to your skin last time on your hands. Maybe it was your arm. You just noticed something was awry. Avoid coconut oil, avoid olive oil, avoid it because you don't want to have allergies. As promised, here are photos of my finished hairstyle. Here's my hair after it's air dried and detangled and stretched out. What I did was I detangled my hair, washed it, and detangled it again. I'm hoping to grow my hair 5 more inches over the next year. Another tip that I wanted to share is that I avoid pulling knots out of my hair by hand. If I do, I check my hair strands for snags and split ends. So always be sure to check your hair and try to use scissors as much as possible. Something else that I avoid is unfiltered water. It's important to always use filtered water when you're showering, washing your hair, filling your spray bottle to spray your hair, or even drinking water from the tap. So always use filtered water. I get a shower head online at Amazon with a filter in it, and there's all kinds of filters, so be sure to research which filter is best. It does take time, but it's well worth it. The list might go on in the future, but this is it for now. And I'm so tired today, but I had to make a video just to stay in touch with my viewers. And I'm so happy to see I have some new subscribers and some new likes on my page. I feel so honored to have new people on my YouTube, and I'm so thankful to have each of you come and see my page. So don't forget me next time and hit that notifications bell, because you have to see what's coming up next. You have to see what Shantae is cooking. And it's not my hair, because I have 4A, 4B, 4C curly hair all mixed in a jumble. And my next video, who knows what it'll be, but it'll be exciting. So stay tuned. Don't forget to also like, and if you want to subscribe, don't forget to subscribe, because I'm looking forward to seeing each of you next time on my page. And adios, this is Shantae. See you next time.